St. Patty's Day. It also happens to be my birthday. So I'm doing this today as a gift to myself. It's a little selfish, but you'll see what I'm getting to. And I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible and get to the point. And those who want to follow along further, there'll be some more stuff. So I'm also using this because I'm dressed all in green like a leprechaun because it's my birthday on this day. Why not get in the spirit, of course? And in one of my favorite places down the road for where I'm living. I don't know if I'm going to keep the hat on the whole time. It might distract, so we'll see. For now, it's coming off. All right. So, what am I doing this for? Well, I'll get to that. I'm going to start. I'm using the storyboard. If you can't read it, I'm going to read it out. Hopefully you can see what it says. First of all, happy St. Patty's Day to everyone. And I want to say hello again to, a lot of people are on social media often, and I tend to be a lurker. I go on there on occasion, but those who know me realize that I chime in on occasion, and there's people that I need to say hi to, from childhood to people I've met on my travels far and wide, and those who have chimed into my life. And that's part of what I want to talk about. I'm using social media today. I'm using Facebook and Instagram and other outlets as a way to get my voice out there and to be vulnerable and to hopefully help some other people. People message you, all of us know, when you have your birthday reminder. It's one of the positive things about Facebook. As alone as you can feel in this world today, with all the social media and everything, it has a positive aspect, and that's what I'm going to try to focus on today. There's tons of negative, of course, but the good news is Joe Schmo from grade school finds you and says, happy birthday, or checks in. And I want to, quote unquote, take advantage of that today. So I'm going to try to get this out before midnight. I've tried to do this now, turned 44 today. I've tried to do it since probably I was 36, and I haven't had the cojones, so to say, or just hasn't happened. So I want to cut to the chase. Why am I doing this as well? The other reason I'm wearing green represents, similar to how breast cancer uses pink and other conditions use other colors, Lyme disease. So I don't know if you can see this, Lyme disease. And amongst other colorful, and in my 4-year-old scrawl, conditions. So those of you that don't know, this is my opportunity to be vulnerable, to speak out and talk about what's been going on with me. I'm going to really try not to be I'm going to try to be as short as possible with this, but it's going to take a bit. So bear with me. Some of you know and some of you don't, but this is my 14th year battling through chronic illness. And when I say severe chronic illness, I don't say that with hyperbole. I don't say that with any exaggeration. If anything, I've been possibly somebody who downplays what's going on at times. And I'm not only coming out and doing this for you to help myself or just be putting my story out. There's a big reason why I'm doing it, and a lot of it has to do with helping others and stuff that I want to do down the road. So, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, myalgic encephalitis, whatever you want to call it, hypothyroidism, kidney disease, kidney issues, traumatic brain injury, autoimmune, atrial fibrillation, bone loss. Those are just a portion of the diagnoses I've been given over these years, and they took a long time to get to, and that's part of what my story is today and where I want to eventually help other people find those answers quicker and get treatment in a more thorough and efficient manner. But I'm going to try to stay on topic. I did this for a reason. I did this. I want to be raw. I just came home today from playing samba in the park with a band here, and I just said, I got to do this. And I just started drawing in the yard, and I know it's not very, You might not be able to see a lot of it, but I'm doing the best I can. So 14th year with chronic illness. I made 44 today. This isn't a joke. I did not think I would make 40. No way. If you would have told me I could have made some money for someone and put money on it, not that I wasn't optimistic. I want to make it further. I just didn't think it was going to happen at the rate things were going. I've had 3 major heart events that I've been rushed to the emergency room. About 2.5 years ago or so in December, I had the paddles put on my chest, and they did a cardioversion twice, shocking my heart, which it's not fun. And the 3 times I've been passing out in the middle of the night as I'm dialing 911 and turning on and powering on my phone. And I've always been alone during those events. 6+ ER visits for various other emergencies, from bleeding to just drug interactions, all sorts of stuff. When I say drugs, it means could be Chinese herbal medicine has put me in the ER, as well as pharmaceutical meds. So there's no dogma in this. I'm not trying to prove any points. I just want to get a message across. And even with that, as horrible as it's been for me, still very fortunate. But I want to get to this point as well. What's happened over these years, and I probably, when we see a snapshot of somebody on Instagram, when we see them at an event, maybe it was me playing in my samba band in Portland during what was a really rough period, really scary period of health at times. But when you're captured in that moment and somebody posts it, even without you posting it, somebody sees that and we extrapolate out and go, so-and-so's life, they look like they're doing great. A lot of us are smart enough to understand that that's not always the case. Sometimes these things are completely in sync, and sometimes here and here, meaning we're totally out of sync with what the moment has captured on social media. I'm going to try to be as authentic as possible with what's going on, and that's one of my goals through this. But I'm not going to lie to all of you guys. I lost it all, almost. And the reason is because there are things I found to hold on to, but I lost dear, dear friends, people I used to snowboard, surf with, climb mountains, family. I was estranged. I have a wonderful family, and this isn't nothing of this about bashing anyone or anything. It's all love. But anybody going through chronic illness, it's super challenging to be a caregiver. It's super challenging to face your own mortality. Not everyone's built for it. It could be your mother, brother, sister, uncle. You never know who's going to be helpful and who can't handle it or doesn't understand it. So I lost my hobbies, my passions, from surfing, I said, dancing, my career, which I was starting to do more acting, and I wanted to go back to school to be a therapist. I lost tons and tons and tons, and this is the trivial, but money. And money is needed in our country, especially if you're gonna get treatment for any disease that doesn't fall into neatly categorized little succinct areas. Anything amorphous, hard to diagnose, and my identity most of all. My whole life I've been someone who I've achieved things, and this isn't about ego, but I believe in myself, and to have your biggest asset, which is effort, my engine, my battery, that's the best example I can give you, taken away from me, cognitively and physically. So a lot of my symptoms are extreme fatigue. Fatigue, not like you're tired, you didn't get enough sleep, like cellular mitochondrial level tapped out. Plug in that phone all day, for example, you expect it to be charged unless there's something broken with the battery or the charger. Our chargers, those who are doing chronic illness, whether it be Lyme, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, they're all crossed over. It doesn't matter one or the other. Everybody has different symptoms. My symptomology is my battery doesn't charge, and it doesn't make sense, meaning I can do everything right and still be flat on my back for a day or two or weeks. So I lost one of my biggest assets. Everything I ever did wasn't because I was smart, Wasn't even that I was that athletic or something. It was because I could use my effort and hustle my way through. And I wasn't a flaky person either, but chronic illness makes you flaky. It makes you unreliable. It makes you a person who is always about their word and prides themselves in being a good friend to people and giver in life. When you can't give yourself and your energy, I don't know how to explain. It'll make you almost go crazy, and a lot of people do. And I'm fortunate, and I want to speak out about mental health is just as valid as physical and physiological health. For me, I'm very fortunate. I was able to have a strong mind and forge ahead, and I have resiliency. But a lot of people aren't so fortunate. So that's why I am still fortunate. I've lost everything. I'm living in a tent right now. I'm virtually homeless. I have almost no money left. I've spent everything trying to get health care, eat good food, cook my own food, being as frugal as possible, yet living in our country and living in our system, it just doesn't allow for you to heal properly. So I had money. Why I was fortunate. I had family. I had good friends. I'm resilient. I'm savvy, and I'm stubborn as hell. I don't know if that's the Greek side or the Jew in me, but through this, I've called myself a Spartan warrior, but I can't credit one side or the other. No favoring of my ethnicities. But I've lost so many people through this. So what I was saying that's why I'm fortunate. I know so many people that I don't think they're weak or anything, but they have taken their own lives because they just can't do it any longer. They're in pain, they're stigmatized, their friends and family just don't understand. And if that defines you, you will lose it. Or you're taking a sleep medicine, an antidepressant, you're taking a benzo, who knows? Some people have all sorts of stuff, and one of those interacts and they die. And so did they die of Lyme disease, fibromyalgia? Well, they died of the consequences of it. Or they just die from a complication, because Lyme disease mostly affects your heart, is one of the major complications, but it's systemic. That's why when you see I have osteoporosis, I've broken my foot, my hand, passively fractures, things that you would normally do in sport. And I'm not saying this to be heavy. I'm a lucky person. I have 3 hernias. Who knows if that's a consequence? Unoperated. I need surgery on those. This affects your whole system. And I'm gonna go to the next page, and I'm sorry, I know it's jumping around, but tent life. So that's something I want, hashtag, which we all use now. So this is one of the things I'm gonna be talking about. Rewilding, getting outdoors more into nature, being barefoot, mold, becoming a delicate flower. So myself, I used to hitchhike around the world, literally. I would sleep on farmers' land it's come full circle because I'm sleeping in a tent and camping on a farmer's land here. And in Australia, I used to do this, hitchhiking, and I would do it, I could sleep anywhere, I could eat anything, and I was fine. So I didn't all of a sudden go, boom, 30 years old, I'm gonna get the shingles and get really sick and become allergic to perfumes and all these synthetic substances. And I didn't all of a sudden say I want to be on a restricted diet and be that annoying person at the dinner table. And my passion was about traveling and be able to eat foods and being in other cultures and sharing. I didn't want to give up my mezcal. I didn't want to give up my whiskey, my cannabis, my medical cannabis. All things you give up if you want to get better, mostly. So it's not a choice. So any of these people that you know in your life, and that's what I'm gonna say, a lot of times, give them the benefit of the doubt. They're not doing it to get attention. And if those people who are in your life still have compassion for them. Maybe encourage them to get mental health evaluations. It all goes together. You can't just do one. You got to treat everything. So part of what I'm doing, I live in a tent. I've lived in a tent for over 6 months now, through winter here in New Mexico. It started with an experiment where my instinct, I was so sick, I was spending 15 hours a day, more or less, slumped in a chair in the place I was renting in a nice part of town here called Nob Hill, with a really great landlady, beautiful house, but I was getting sick. And I gotten very, very ill in black toxic mold in Portland. That's a whole nother story, but I'm highly allergic. 25% of the population, genetically, it's not woo-woo, it's science, and I'm more of a science guy, they can't clear mold from their body once it's in them. You have to mechanically pull it out. So I won't get into the details, but knowing that about myself, I just said, it took me 2 weeks to pack my car with my hernias. I was so weak. I got it in there, the stuff in there, and I took off and drove to the Gila wilderness and went without cell phone connection, which was another thing I wanted to get away from. Soaked in the hot springs each day, got in the freezing river. I didn't cure, but day by day, with the same home supplement treatments, no treatment otherwise, I started to improve. That's the short end of it. Basically, nature didn't cure me, but it improved my symptoms without doing anything else major. So, and it is very hot here, so I'm not trying to strip down, but I'm still wearing green, but I'm getting down to here. So, humbling. This is what I'm saying. I told you it's come full circle. So now in my life, I'm back living outside, working for an older couple. They're not elderly, they're great. They're very old, but they're very strong people. But I'm doing some help for them in exchange for having a place to live, because I have to put every cent towards treatment. And this is, again, not the main portion of it is begging for help. It's about telling you the story so that you might reach out to other people and have awareness that this is going on with people. Whether it's autoimmune, it's all falls under the umbrella of invisible disabilities or invisible illness, meaning not everyone with a certain condition has a limp or is in a wheelchair. And we're all included in a certain group, but a lot of illness is stigmatized, especially fibromyalgia and Lyme and other conditions that you don't always see on the surface, but are tapping people out and torturing them on a cellular level. So super humbling. Stop and start. The biggest thing is, if you guys have wondered why people don't get into careers, don't get back to work, and they don't get disability either, you can't gain momentum. You need to put together a week of good health that is predictable. When you're sick here, there, everywhere, and you don't know what's getting you better, there's no momentum build. Everybody needs momentum. You need reliability. I'm an actor. I can't read for a part on a Monday and be lucid like today, and then be slurring my words on a Thursday when it shoots overnight for 14-hour days. That's the reality of it. That's the truth. I'm getting into voiceover work. My voice is different on a day that I'm very, very sick. So imagine having the flu constantly for a decade without, sometimes the glands are swollen and everything, but it's more without the fever for me, but you have all the pain and the fatigue and the cloudiness. So what are my goals with this video? To annoy the shit out of you? No. It's to I'm gonna use humor in my future videos, and I'm not gonna be as PC. So anybody who's watching now, feel free not to follow, but that's just the way I'm gonna do it. And I feel like those who resonate and wanna hear this information, great. Those who don't, I politely wish you the best, and I'll ignore the comments. So, advocacy. I want to use what's happened to me. It would be a shame to waste it. All the experience from going to the Mayo Clinic and the resources I had to go to Brazil, Mexico, to shamans, to Eastern, Western medicine. That's East. That's West for us. That's the East Mountains. To really try to use science, but I'm open to anything. And having the opportunity, I want to share that without any bias for people, from diets I've tried, from you name it. So, and I want to bring out and help other people who don't have the resources I have. I want to help them get the resources, get there quicker. So if you have a family member, if you have a friend, they don't have to have the same disease, they don't have to be the same age. I was looking for a surfer dude at 30 that got super sick online. So that's why I decided to do this, because I saw other people speaking out, other people being vulnerable. And it's kind of bullshit that it took me this long, to be honest, but I'm not gonna be so hard on myself. Vulnerability, that's the big thing. This is what you're getting. I'm embarrassed, I'm probably gonna have a hard time posting this, but I gotta be vulnerable, and I hope it leads other people to being vulnerable. And community, I have lost all my community. My Samba group was my community at home. My surf group, when I used to surf. When you lose your hobbies, you lose your community. People don't just stop by your tent and say hi to watch Netflix. It doesn't happen. I was hoping. That's why I'm single. Any girls, women out there want to pass by my tent and say hello and introduce themselves, fantastic. I'm joking, but community. I want to put this out there because there might be somebody from childhood, there might be somebody that I haven't talked to in a while that got sick, that has a similar thing, that we can connect. And it's not the same as being in person, but eventually I'd like to lead retreats here in this beautiful state of New Mexico, which I love, my home, and get people to unplug, to power in numbers, to help each other, and to support each other. So reach out to me, pass this along to somebody that might want to listen. Family, friends of friends, whoever. The last thing is, and the major thing is, compassion. What the Dalai Lama preaches and what we're missing in our world today of just attacking people. And I don't want to get political, nothing. It's just, we gotta, as cheesy as it is, but we do have to be more loving. And I don't want to get emotional about this whole thing, but people have been horrible to me, but worse to other people. I'm lucky. I can put an appearance up of sometimes and fake it till I make it. But people are really mean to those who are sick and can't necessarily give you the diagnosis right away. Bear with those people. Not everything. We can send people to the moon if you believe it. I believe it. I'm not a conspiracy person, but we can solve maybe HIV now. But there's medical mysteries that we can't solve, from viruses to Lyme disease. And the people that are sick aren't doing it for fun. They're not losing their whole life. They want their life back. And there's a small percentage that have mental illness, and help them. Have compassion. And I don't mean to shout at people, I'm sorry. It's just, I'm passionate about this stuff. And you know, I couldn't have learned. I studied at 22, 23 years old in Nepal at a Buddhist monastery, and I was confused. I didn't understand compassion. I could read about it for years. I have Zen books here and there. Going through 14 years of being sick, you only need a year, 2 years, not even. You learn a lot about, you either become super jaded and you give up, or you go the other direction and life becomes simpler. You're happier with less. And it taught me compassion. I already had that. Luckily, I think compassion is a gene. It doesn't mean you're better than anyone, but there it is. So the other reason I'm doing this is I am going to be launching a YouTube. I'm going to be starting to post on, so start to unfollow now because I'll be annoying you. Not with political stuff, but stuff that could help people. And I'm going to try to make it as interesting and as fun as possible. So my Instagram is OmRider24. I'm going to put all these in the notes below. OmRider, which soon my Instagram should be at OmRider also, but OmRider is Twitter. YouTube, my channel's OmRider. I don't have a URL yet until I have enough followers. 44, trying to become a YouTube sensation. I need your support. No, I just want a couple people to benefit. If it turns into something, fantastic, but I want to use this experience, all my years in the health field, from practicing Qigong, meditation, yoga, these things have been invaluable to me, and I want to share them. And that's the main push behind this. And in addition, I'm gonna need help. I am very humbled to do this, but I'm out of resources almost. I'm on credit cards almost. So I need treatment still. I'm had a partial remission. Today's a pretty good day. That's why I'm doing this. But you see me when I'm well. There's gonna be videos just yesterday, earlier, where I'm malazed out and I'm completely on my back and I'm weak as can be. That's the bigger portion of the 80% or more of the last 14 years. That's the reality that we don't post and push down your throats. You see me when I'm feeling good, and we shouldn't be punished for doing that. So I'm going on, getting out in the weeds, but these are things I'll talk about in the future. I'm gonna stick to the point, and I just wanna say, those of you who have had my back, those who know me just a short time that had my back, you don't know how much you mean to me. And a lot of this is about, about thanking people. So, gracias, obrigado. You know, I speak a few different languages a little bit. To everybody who's helped me, from other countries who's asked me how I'm doing. It means it's a lonely road fighting chronic illness, and anybody who can volunteer that knows tech stuff, website, any help for this stuff, I'm reaching out to you. I'm being vulnerable and I'm asking for help. I have no expectation. If nobody can help, it's fine. But I also will be launching down the road here a health crowdfund of sorts, because I've had to wait for surgery for hernias for now 13 years for 2 of them, and my other one for about 10 years. I need hernia surgery, and I need to go to a specialized clinic and finally take a big swing at Lyme disease and my other conditions, and try to get a more robust remission so I can get out of this and I can get back to my life and I can do my passion of passing this along and helping people. Because my dream is to have retreat centers, lead people, pass on my skills, share it with other people, doing art therapy, and helping people with the basics, the things that cost almost nothing to do, is getting back to the simple things. And that's what's helped me. But we also need, if you have a condition, not all of us miraculously heal because we went on a diet or this, a vegan diet or a carnivore diet or whatever. It takes more. It takes hyperbaric chambers, IVs. I've had hundreds of IVs, transfusions, intense treatments, and I don't know how much more it's gonna take, but I need to get better and I wanna help people. So thank you for listening. I'm sorry it's so long. I didn't know how to do this any better. I hope at least you got to view the background, and now there's people paddling along, probably wondering what the weirdo in green is doing with the runny nose. But again, thank you everybody, and I'll have things following up with this. So peace and thanks.